Hey everybody, this is Brian David Marshall coming to you from the Tournament Center at the World Championships in Chiba, Japan. I'm here with old Tournament Center friend Conley Woods, and we're going to talk about a deck that we teased a little bit about last night in the wrap. Rich Hagon said there were a lot of oohs and ahs about Conley Woods' deck, and well, the ooze is Necrotic Ooze.
And a Acidic Slime. There's a Acidic Slime. So we've got
it's an eight oozes.
All oozes all the time.
So we've been calling it like oohs and ahs, as in the Wizard of Oz here.
That's fair.
It's not very often we have someone who's 6 and 7 in the Tournament Center for a deck tech.
I couldn't let you do one without me. I had to get in here somehow.
So tell us a little bit about the deck. Walk us through what's going on here.
So the basis of the deck is the combo between Necrotic Ooze, a Devoted Druid, and then you have a couple of different one-ups we'll get to later between Quillspike and Grim Poppet. But you're basically trying to assemble a combination of cards that go infinite in one of about 30 different ways. You can go infinite damage, you can go infinite mana, you can go infinite creature removal, basically anything infinite you want to do, and it kind of all revolves around Ooze. And to get all the pieces, all these one-ups that I'm talking about, we have 4 Fauna Shaman. Seems pretty standard in any graveyard-based deck these days from Vintage on up. But yeah, that's kind of like the core, like 12 of the deck. And the one I was just going to grab, we have a Thornling, which is actually important for its haste granting ability. So that way you can play a Necrotic Ooze out of nowhere, give it haste, and go off. But indestructibility is also important against Day of Judgment, bolts, etc. Trample is also good if you go Quillspike style.
Let's talk about Quillspike.
Then we have Quillspike, which is one of the ways to go infinite. Basically, with the Quillspike, well, you can do the old school Quillspike combo, which is Devoted Druid and Quillspike in play, which Quillspike attacks for lethal damage. Usually they have a blocker though, so it's a little obnoxious. But with a Quillspike and a Devoted Druid in your yard, you get to make infinite mana by you tap your Necrotic Ooze for a green, then you untap it, then you remove the counter via Quillspike. So now it's a 6 or a 7/6. And then you can continue to do this, and it'll continue to grow +2/+2 every reiteration of it, and eventually it gets to like 100 power or whatever, then you just tap it for mana a bunch of times. So you can get infinite mana that way and an infinitely large creature. So that's like one combo of the deck. Then the other combo would be Grim Poppet. He doesn't let you get infinitely large, but he does kill all your opponent's creatures and make infinite mana by targeting. You keep responding to the target of one of their creatures over and over again until you have sufficient mana, and then eventually wrath their entire board, and you usually win from there. Sometimes you go get a Quillspike or the Masticore, which is another one of, which is a way to empty all that mana. You can, with the Fauna Shaman in your yard, you can continue to search out creature after creature after creature with every untapping of the Ooze once you get enough mana, and that'll fill up your graveyard fast enough to then, shoot them for a ton of mana.
With all your creatures in your yard and infinite mana, you just use it up 4 at a time and start.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't even have to continue Fauna Shaman, but let's say you have 3 creatures in your yard and they're at 26 or something, you kind of have to. So this technically doesn't do infinite damage, but it does, up to 60 or something like that.
These cards seem a little oddball in the deck.
Yeah, they're low. We have 1 Murmuring Bosk and 4 birds to play the Reveillark. He kind of supplements our land destruction package, which we'll get to a little bit later. And Shriekmaw is just kind of a 1 value creature that, it's good, beats the Emrakul deck, the polymorph deck, because it's a creature and it comes into play and then kills it. And it's just, a fine tutor against, various utility, other Fauna Shamans, things like that.
Okay, so it would not be a Conley Woods deck without the so-called land death package.
It is the land death package.
You and I probably call it land destruction. Conley has always referred to it as land death.
I even consciously tried to call it land destruction for this video, but now the cat's out of the bag.
Not off camera, you didn't.
It's true. But yeah, Fulminator Mage right now is really insane because every deck runs a plethora of non-basic lands, other than like Pyromancer, Ascension, and White Weenie, which it's not good against, but against 5-color/4 color control, Jund, Fairies, Polymorph, Scapeshift, all these decks just rely on their non-basics. So Fulminator Mage is a turn 2 land destruction spell, and once it's in your yard, your Necrotic Ooze is now a Fulminator Mage, which is important because now you have more and more land destruction spells.
How often does that actually happen? You also have Acidic Slime, which seems like an odd card for the extended format, which feels
might be one of the best cards in the deck. We started with one. We started with a Wickerbro Elder, which has activated ability, so we're like, this is clearly better in the deck. And then it became Acidic Slime once we realized we didn't need Wickerbro Elder. And then Acidic Slime became another one in the board, and then eventually became a 3 of, and then a 4 of. It just kept growing over time because it's just so good at destroying a land and blocking their creature or putting pressure on a Jace or whatever. And then we have a couple Tectonic Edge. We had 3 for a while, but the mana's a little shaky with 3, so we cut it down to 2. Usually, you're just trying to keep them off Cryptic Command or Jace or whatever with that. And then for our mana, you're gonna go to mana or spells?
Let's do spells.
All right, we'll go to spells. We have 2 Makeshift Mannequins here. Pretty value card. It's good with Fulminator Mage. Good with end of turn you get back your ooze and they don't expect it. Like you pass the turn with 4 mana.
I saw someone do that already today.
Yeah.
His opponent tapped out and he was like, okay, now I can go get
exactly
Necrotic Ooze and kill you on my turn.
Exactly. They don't really expect it, so that's good. We had 4 for a while, but this card's really good. Primal Command. It supplements your land destruction package again by putting a land on top of their deck. It's good against Pyromancer Ascension for shuffling their graveyard away, and you search for any creature on your deck. Gain 7's important. It's just a very handy spell. I mean, it saw a lot of play in Standard. It does pretty much the same thing here. And then for some disruption, we have 4 Thoughtseize in the main. Good against counter spells. Good against the 1 bolt they have in their hand that they're going to hit your turn 2 Fauna Shaman with. Just overall, pretty utility in extended. And then we have some lands, including 4 Birds of Paradise, which lets us cheat on our mana a little bit, gives us additional creatures to discard to Fauna Shaman, and with a bird in your yard, Necrotic Ooze taps for a mana, which is good. There's 6 basics.
The deck feels a little mana light to me. I mean, it's
only 22 lands, which is a little light, but we have 8 mana creatures, and you don't really lose to mana denial. Like you only have 2 or 3 lands in play with this deck. You lose when you draw 6 or 7 lands because you don't have too many ways to use them if you're not drawing spells. We don't have like a Jace in our deck to shuffle away lands or whatnot. Gilt-Leaf Palace is pretty good. We have 8 elves in our deck, so it comes into play untapped most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't. It's annoying, but it's one of those things where you can cast turn 1 birds or Thoughtseize off it. And our fetch lands, of course, which grab the Murmuring Bosk, which let us play our 1 of Reveillark. But yeah, the basic.
And then the Twilight Mire.
Twilight Mire is really important in the deck. It lets you go turn 2 Fulminator Mage or turn 2 Kitchen Finks out of the sideboard off of a Bird of Paradise or whatever. So that's a really important spell in the deck.
Walk me through. This seems very complicated.
It is
I
pretty complicated.
understand that players playing this deck need a so-called cheat sheet
to figure out
all the infinite
some cheat
combos.
sheets.
Just show me an example.
All
Let's
right.
just pretend I have some mana in play. All right, there's my mana.
We'll say this in play. This doesn't actually. So, one of the things you're trying to do with the deck is actually get a Fauna Shaman in your yard. You don't have to, but it's important to, because with a Fauna Shaman in the yard and a Devoted Druid in the yard, now this single Necrotic Ooze can activate as a Fauna Shaman for as many green mana as you have. So I could just continually use it. And usually with that, you get your combo by getting Grim Poppet, etc. in the yard. So what you're trying to ultimately get to is a Grim Poppet here, and a Fauna Shaman and Devoted Druid, or Fauna Shaman can be replaced by other spells like Molten-Tail Masticore, Quillspike, things like that.
Assume for the moment these are the cards in the yard. How does this work?
Okay, so
Necrotic Ooze is in play.
We're going to tap this, or we don't even need to tap that for a green, I guess. We're going to, make some green mana off these, so we have a bunch of green mana floating. We're going to discard, we'll say we have another Necrotic Ooze in our hand. We're going to use this as a Fauna Shaman, discard Necrotic Ooze, go get like a Molten-Tail Masticore. We're then going to untap this via the Devoted Druid trigger, put a -1/-1 counter here, and then we can, assuming any other creatures in play, either theirs or our own. Sometimes you have to kill your own. We'll say we have a, I don't know, and we'll just keep pulling out Necrotic Oozes. We have, this is Magical Christmas Land once again. So you would remove this via Grim Poppet, targeting this because you can't, unfortunately, target the same creature. Grim Poppet states that. So we're going to target this with this ability on the stack. We're then going to tap this for another green, untap it, target this again, continually do that to responding, so you have this giant stack, but meanwhile...
So the counters you're putting here haven't responded?
No, they haven't responded yet,
resolved.
but you're making all this mana in the meanwhile. Then you can, let this resolve, whatever, this goes away, you have a ton of mana, and then you start, discarding cards like this Necrotic Ooze to go get a Molten-Tail Masticore, discard Molten-Tail Masticore, get a Quillspike, discard a Quillspike, get a Shriekmaw, fill up your yard, and then you can either use this over and over again for the
So Necrotic Ooze now has the abilities of Molten-Tail Masticore.
of everything in your deck, basically.
Right.
So you can use them as Molten-Tail Masticore to just continuously shoot them for 4, or if you, for some reason that doesn't work out, or they have like a Leyline of Sanctity or something in play, you can also just make your guy you just keep putting a -1/-1 counter on it over and over again, and then removing it via this to then lethal them with the Leyline of Sanctity.
Since you've killed their whole board with your Grim Poppet.
Yeah, so like the reason you need both these is like this one gets beat by a Leyline of Sanctity or something like that, and this one gets beat by a Path Exile, let's say. So you kind of want both in there to do, to shoot all the angles, and they're both fine creatures to cast on their own, which is good.
It's a crazy deck, Conley.
It is pretty crazy.
Let's talk quickly about the sideboard.
Yeah, we have one Baloth in there. You tutor them up in response to a Blighting. It's pretty sweet, and it's just good against like mono red and things like that. One Skinrender instead of the full Shriekmaw on the board for other oozes if we face them, and against Jund, where Shriekmaw's a pretty bad card. So 2 more Shriekmaw comes in against like White Weenie, Merfolk, Elementals, those type of decks. 2 Pulse, mainly in there for White Weenie to take out Spectral Possessions, but you can hit like a Pyromancer Ascension, things like that. It's kind of a value card. A little generic, but we needed it.
4 Kitchen Finks?
4 Kitchen Finks. It's your kind of your win condition against Jund. You board into Kitchen Finks, you blow up all the lands, you need a way to win, so you just attack them with the 3/2. And it's also good against mono red and white weenie. 2
Memoricide just for...
It's good against everything, like Scape Shift, Pyromancer Ascension, Polymorph. These are all decks that will revolve around like 1 card essentially, so it's kind of in there just to take care of combo.
When 4 Thoughtseize are not enough?
Yeah, if we bring them against 5-color control or 4-color control, because Jace is kind of like the biggest thing they can drop against us if they do get to 4 mana, so we kind of want to keep them off that, and a mana leak or whatever. And then Cloudthresher is actually important against fairies, of course, but also against things like Polymorph, who tries to get Bitter Blossom going, and then also against the Pestermite combo. We wanted an instant way to tutor, an instant speed creature to tutor up to be able to play in response to them targeting a Pestermite with the Splinter Twin or whatever and kill their thing. So it's really the only flash creature you can even play in these colors, and it just happens to stop those, so worked out pretty well.
Excellent. Well, for Conley Woods, there you have it. This is an extended deck that is pretty crazy, pretty complicated, probably takes a little bit of practice, but with the Pro Tour qualifier season coming up,
yeah,
it's going to be here soon, it's extended. This might be a deck you want to sleeve up and give a try. For Conley Woods, this is Brian David Marshall signing off from the Tournament Center.